Good afternoon, everyone. I will be presenting on clinical course of ocular hypertony in pediatric uveitis. The slides are not moving. Can you reset the time, please? Still not moving. Ocular hypertony is a rare but potentially vision-threatening complication of uveitis. Children are more susceptible than adults to developing hypertony with uveitis. JIA is one of the most common causes of ocular hypertony. Risk factors include bilateral uveitis, panuveitis, posterior synecdoche, and prolonged disease duration. Managing ocular hypertony in pediatric uveitis is challenging as it is often detected late by the time the vision has already been compromised. However, reports on hypertony-related complications in children are limited. So we conducted this study to assess the clinical course of ocular hypertony in pediatric uveitis. It was a retrospective observational study conducted between 2009 to 2021. Clinical records of children below 16 years of age who developed ocular hypertony were reviewed retrospectively. Children developing hypertony due to non-uveitic cause or following ocular trauma, following glaucoma surgery with a follow-up duration of less than 3 months, and improper documentations were excluded from the study. Ocular hypertony was defined as intraocular pressure of less than 6 millimeters of mercury for at least 30 days. Severe inflammation was defined as anterior chamber or vitreous reaction of 3 plus cells or more. A total of 41 eyes of 30 children were included, out of which 17 were males and 13 were females. Mean age at diagnosis of uveitis was 9 years, and uveitis was unilateral in 14 patients and bilateral in 16. Out of these 30 children, 11 children had bilateral hypertony. When these children presented to us, there was pre-existing hypertony in 29 eyes of 21 children, and in the remaining 12 eyes of 9 children, the mean number of days from the onset of uveitis to hypertony was 497 days. Most common clinical symptom was impaired vision followed by redness and ocular pain. Panuveitis was the most commonly diagnosed subtype of uveitis, followed by intermediate and interior uveitis. Among the infectious causes, ARN was the most common cause, followed by ocular toxocara and tubercular uveitis. Among the non-infectious cause, GI remained the most prevalent cause. In the remaining 20 children, the cause of uveitis remained undifferentiated. All children received steroid therapy. 13 children received oral methotrexate. 3 children received the combination therapy with one or the other immunosuppressive drug. Only 6 children in our study received biologic therapy with adalimumab. One child with JIE-associated panuveitis had to discontinue immunosuppressive therapy due to development of side effects, but it was resumed after the resolution of symptoms. Another child had to discontinue the therapy due to being non-compliant, but as the inflammation increased, the child was again started on azathioprine. Coming to treatment of hypertony, 9 eyes were treated with only increased frequency of topical and oral steroids and immunosuppressive. 12 eyes in addition received some intravitreal or periocular injection. 20 eyes had to undergo some surgical intervention, out of which 10 eyes had to undergo silicone oil insertion, and the remaining 10 eyes underwent vitrectomy with pars plana or ciliary body membrane removal. Coming to treatment outcome, 16 eyes, that is 39% of the eyes developed showed improvement with restoration of IOP. 6 eyes were already presented out in a worse state, so no surgical further intervention was planned, and hypertony remained persistent in 12 eyes at the final follow-up visit. The visual acuity at baseline improved at the final follow-up visit with treatment. The mean follow-up duration was 1031 days, and 9 eyes underwent to phthisis. The literature on ocular hypertony in children is sparse, with majority of literature consisting of isolated case reports or case series on JIA uveitis. To the best of our knowledge, this is the first study that focuses on ocular hypertony in pediatric uveitis. However, our data should be interpreted cautiously, as referral bias may exist because our institution is a tertiary care center and it caters most difficult to treat patients. Panuveitis was the most commonly diagnosed subtype and most frequent association with poor visual acuity. Though all of our patients received some or the other corticosteroid therapy or with IMTs, we had the option of adding or substituting other IMTs or biologics. Confirming the usefulness of immunosuppression for the treatment of hypertony in pediatric uveitis requires more research. A study had certain limitation. It was a retrospective study designed with varied follow-up and referral patterns, so there could be a bias in favor of more severe cases due to patient population at tertiary uveitis center. Given that the study's mean follow-up duration was only 1031 days, it's possible that the ocular hypertony rate over the long run will be higher than what our observation indicates. To conclude, ocular hypertony was most commonly found in children with panuveitis. Poor vision at presentation was one of the associated factors, and with appropriate treatment, 39% eye showed improvement with restoration of IOP. Further, additional prospective research is required to maximize immunomodulatory treatment in the pediatric uveitis risk group in order to avoid potentially irreversible ocular hypertony and its harmful effects. Thank you.
What was your postulated mechanism of ocular hypotony, and how would biologics help in this?
Sir, in these children, mostly the ciliary body inflammation causes ocular hypertony, most commonly in children. This inflammation and
So could UBM studies could have
sir, we have
added?
another UBM was also done in these children. So, but for all the children, UBM was not done. So that's why I have not included in this particular study. There was a ciliary body blunting of ciliary processes. There was a flattening of the ciliary processes and the shrinkage of the ciliary body, and that's why I have not included all these patients because it was not there in.
Actually, the mechanism is due to active uveitis, there is a ciliary shutdown. So UVM is very good investigation procedure to diagnose.
It was done in around 70% of the patient, but I didn't include it here. Thank you.
Okay.